of us at some point has to make a decision about important matters in our lives. Whether we're going to take a particular job opportunity or not, whether I want to go to a particular school for my education, whether I want to travel abroad for a better family atmosphere. These are choices we have to make, and many of us already made these choices. And whenever we do want some information, what do? If I want to buy a house, I'm going to go to a real estate agent. When I want to look into a job, I'm going to look for an employee workshop. There's an Islamic method also for decision making. When we talk about decision making, I want to make a choice, I want to decide something in my life, there's an Islamic process as well that we all should be aware of. This process has 3 steps. The first step is analyzing the pros and cons. The second step is to make mashwara or shura. And the third step is to make istikhara. Any decision that I consider important in my life, whether it's marriage, education, a job, relocation, whether it's about where I want to live the rest of my life, whatever decision I need to make, however important I may feel, there are 3 steps I have to go through from an Islamic perspective before I make that. And inshallah, over the next few sessions, we'll go through all of them, but just for right now, we'll go through the first step. So let's take a hypothetical example. My daughter wants to go to college. And she's been accepted into 3-4 colleges throughout all of America. And now I want to decide, okay, should I send her to University of Chicago, or should I send her to Harvard, or should I send her to UT Austin? It's a very big decision in my life. What do I do from the Islamic perspective? The first step that we have is to see what the positives are from an Islamic sense. So to give an example, let's say, for instance, my son, he wants to go, and I'm looking at University of Chicago versus UT Austin. If he goes to Chicago, let's say hypothetically, there's no Muslim community over there, there's no masjid nearby. Let's say, for instance, the atmosphere over there has a bit of notoriety, has a bit of negative news about it. And UT Austin, I hear that, okay, you know what? If she's over there, she can always come back. We have some family over there. There's a good MSA. There's a masjid nearby. There's so many ways for them to preserve their identity. So from the 3 steps, the first step that I need to take is, let me see which of these 2 decisions are beneficial from me from an Islamic perspective. Because too often, a person, he came to me a few months ago, he told me he's a doctor, he told me he got an opportunity to work in a hospital in another country, very, very comfortable job, house provided, job provided, everything. He said there's just a few problems. The place I'm going to work, there are 0 masajid, 0 Muslims, nothing in that area, number 1. Number 2, I asked them from before, will you give me an opportunity to get off for Jumu'ah if I need to? And they said, because you're just joining for the first year, if it clashes with one of your scheduled job issues, you're not allowed to take a break. So he came to me and he said, look, I'm going to make a lot of money over here, but for this 1 year, I might miss a few Jumu'ahs. There's no Muslim community over there. My children, and I said, look, it's a sacrifice that I personally think is not worth making. Yes, you'll make more money. Yes, you think you're going to get comfortable, but look at the expense. At what cost are you doing this? Too often when we're making these choices in our lives, this happens very often for education. So many of my friends, they'll come to me and say, oh, I'm going to college right now, and these are the options that I have. Where do I go? I say, my first concern is, when you're going to go over there, what's the Muslim community like? Is there a masjid nearby? Are there Muslim students? Are you going to be able to be punctual with your Muslim identity? How frequently do we hear a very innocent high school going child goes to college eventually, and because they're in the bad friend circle, they end up doing things that they never would have imagined to do? So, 3 steps. First is pros and cons from an Islamic perspective. Second is mashwara. And third is istikhara. Today, briefly, we spoke about the pros and cons. Inshallah, next time we'll talk about what does it mean to make mashwara before any decision. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put khair in all of our decisions, and may He inspire us to do that which earns His pleasure and is best for us in this dunya and the akhirah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.